Hello jr4. Today we're talking about new lesson. It's called decimal numbers. What's the meaning of decimal number? Decimal number is a fraction which have denominator 10. Must its denominator to be 10. Next time we will learn the denominator will be 100 or 1000. But today the denominator must be 10. It can't be any number other. Okay? Fraction which have denominator 10 can be written by using a point that is called the decimal point. Let's see how to write. The first example, we have 7 over 10. It is a fraction. I can write b in a decimal number because we have denominator 10. So we have in a safe side because we have denominator 10. How to write it in decimal way? We will write 0.7. 0.7. How to read it and how to write it in letters? 7 tenths. 7 tenths. We added to 10 ths. ths. Or we can say 0.7. 0.7. Let's take another example. 3 over 10. The denominator is 10, so I can be right in a decimal number. So it will be 0.3. 0.3, it will be read as 3 tenths. 3 tenths or 0.3 or 0. New example. We have 2 and 5 over 10. This is the mixed number. Okay, how I can write it in decimal? I can write it very easy because we have the denominator 10. Okay, I will write 2 as a whole number, so it will write b before the decimal point. So I will write 2.5. 2.5. To write it instead of 0, and we write point and 5. How I can write it in letters? I can say 2 and 5 tenths. 2 and 5 tenths. And I can say 2.5. It's very easy. Okay, let's take another example. If we have 32 over 10. Wow. How I can write it? We have 2 digits in the denominator. So we have the denominator 10. So I can write any fraction in decimal if we have denominator 10. How we can write this fraction? I will write this fraction and I will put the point after the first number from the right. What? I will write this in decimal point in the decimal number and I will put the point after the first number from the right. So I will put the point after number 2. So it will write 3.2 and can read and write it in letters 3 and 2 tenths. 3 and 2 tenths. Let's take third example. 126 over 10. I can write it also in a decimal point or a decimal number. Yes, I will put the point after the first number from the right. We must be attention. I will put the point after the first number from the right. So I will write 12.6. I will put the point after 6. Okay? How I can write it? I can see 12 and 6 tenths. 12 and 6 tenths. Okay, junior 4. Let's know more about decimal. 2.5. 2 is considered the whole number parts. 2 is considered the whole number parts. What about this point? This point is called decimal point. This point is called decimal point. How about 5? 5 is 0.5. It's the decimal part. Is the decimal part. So I can see 2 is the whole number part. And this point is called the decimal point. 0.5 is the decimal part. Let's take another thing about decimal number. If we have any fraction don't have denominator 10 and I wanted to write it in decimal number, we must convert it into decimal number. How to convert it? by making a denominator equal to 10. How I can make denominator equal to 10? By two ways. By multiplying or dividing. By multiplying or dividing. But here must be multiplying or dividing both the numerator and the denominator. Because when we take fraction before, it's a big deal between numerator and the denominator. Anything happened to one of them must be happened to the other. So, to converting any fraction to decimal, we must be convert the denominator to be equal 10 by multiplying or dividing both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Let's take an example. The first one, 3 over 5. How I can write it in decimal? We must convert the denominator 5 into 10. So what I will do? Yes, I will make multiplying by 2. So when multiplying the denominator by 2, we must multiply the numerator by 2 also. Okay, let's see. 5 times 2 and 3 times 2. 5 times 2 equals 10 and 3 times 2 equals 6. So it becomes 6 over 10. I can write it in decimal number. Yes, it will be 0.6 or 6 tenths. Let's take another example. 12 and a half. How I can convert it? I will ignore the whole number and to convert the fraction. We have half. So I will make times 5 to convert the denominator from 2 to 10. So I will multiplying the numerator by 5 also. Let's see. When multiplying 2 times 5 and 1 times 5, it becomes 5 over 10. And the whole number, it's written easy. 12 and 5, 10. How I can write it in decimal? I will write 12.5, or I can see 12 and 5 tenths. 12 and 5 tenths. Let's take another example. 14 over 5. How I can convert it into decimal? Yes, I will make time multiplication by 2 for the both numerator and the denominator. 5 times 2 and 14 times 2. 14 times 2 equal 28 and 5 times 2 equal 10. How I can write it? Yes, I will put the decimal point after the first digit from the right. Okay, so it will be 2.8 and I can write it 2 and 8 tenths. 2 and 8 tenths. Let's take the last example. 48 over 40. It's the greatest number. What I will do? How I convert it into 10? Yes, here I can't make multiplication, but I will make divided. I want to convert 40 into 10. So I will make divided by 4. And when we make divided by 4 for the denominator, we must make the numerator divided by 4. So when we say 48 divided 4 and 40 divided 4, 40 divided 4 equals 10 and 48 divided 4 equals 12. How I can write it in decimal? I will put the point after the first digit from the right, so it will be 1.2, and I can write it in letters 1 and 2 tenths. Today we will finish the first lesson in the decimal. See you next time in the more and more about decimal. Goodbye.